we flew from Bali to Labuan Bajo, a small port town on the west coast of the island of Flores. East of Bali, the number of tourists decreases rapidly. Here, into the wild east of Indonesia, only very few travelers dare to go. Though there is still much to discover on these islands that bear picturesque names such as Flores, Komodo, and Alor, traveling is not always easy in this remote part of Indonesia. But there are waiting exciting adventures and new discoveries. We have retreated from the noisy and uncomfortable Labuan Bajo to a small offshore island. Locals call our island Angel Island, and indeed it seems to us like one of those holiday paradises from advertisements. Here you can relax, and we enjoy the sunset in the west, where the silhouette of the island of Komodo stands out in front of the setting sun. During the next days, we dive at various seamounts in front of Komodo. The coral growth is so dense and diverse as only in a few other places in the world. Nutrient-rich waters from the deep are pushed to the surface here. This attracts large schools of fish, and even sharks show up. These predators have become rare in Indonesia. Also, above water, there are dangerous predators living here. Komodo and the neighboring island of Rinca are the last retreat of prehistoric lizards. Komodo dragons are about 3 meters tall and will eat anything they can get in their way. We visit the lizards on the island of Rinca and are guided by rangers on a hike across the island. Armed with strong sticks, they ensure that attacking dragons are kept at a distance. During our visit, however, the Komodo dragons are too occupied with their own reproduction. Apart from that, one must not underestimate the danger of these killer lizards. They are faster than you think, their saliva is contaminated by bacteria, and along with their venom glands, a bite kills even a large water buffalo in a few days. Underwater, we meet more peaceful relatives of the Komodo dragons. The loggerhead turtles feed on sponges they can easily find among the corals. Badfish also accompany us on our dives. They are not shy and come curiously very close to us divers. More difficult to find are the big manta rays, which let themselves being cleaned in the middle of the current. While we divers have our effort to keep us steady in the current, these big fish float almost effortlessly in the water and are cleaned by cleaning fish. We continue our journey to the east. We rent a car in Labuan Bajo, and during the next few days we want to cross Flores from west to east. Flores is part of the Indonesian Ring of Fire, and the backbone of the island is formed by a chain of up to 2,300-meter-high volcanoes, which are separated by deep valleys. The roads are bad, even for Indonesian standards, and especially in the rainy season, whole mountain slopes slip down so that roads are blocked for days or even weeks. It really takes a few days for about 600 kilometers from Labuan Bajo to Maumere in the east of Flores. Even in the dry season, the peaks of the mountains receive enough rainfall. They are still covered with dense jungle. But wherever the geographical conditions allow, the natives have cultivated the soil. We visit the famous cobweb rice fields the Manggarai people have created here in the mountains of Flores. Vanilla is grown here, and clove trees grow well in the mountains. Most villagers reside on high ridges with good circumspection, so potential visitors or attackers can be discovered well in advance. Although nearly 90% of the population is Catholic in Flores, many of the pre-Christian traditions and customs have been preserved, especially in the interior. This is particularly evident in the villages of the Ngada tribe, as here in Bena, which still today adhere to their old animistic beliefs. Objects that look like thatched umbrellas symbolize important male ancestors. Small thatched huts the corresponding female. At funerals and days of remembrance of ancestors, buffaloes and pigs are slaughtered. The horns and jaws of the sacrificed animals are preserved and attached to the beams of the village huts. Now at noon, Bena seems to be deserted. Most inhabitants are at work in the surrounding fields and plantations. Only a few old women and little children with their mothers are left in the houses. They spend their time with more or less useful activities. Mary, who has lost all her teeth, must crush her betel nuts before she can shove them in her mouth. Chewing betel nuts is very popular in the interior of Flores. We continue our journey eastward. We are progressing slowly. Somewhere a mountain slide has slipped down, or just delicious fruits on the roadside make us stop. Our goal is Kelimutu mountain. It is the most famous volcano of Flores with 3 differently colored crater lakes. We have gone up early in the morning to experience in 1,640 meters altitude the rise of the sun. By the way, the Kelimutu lakes changed their color. Until a few years ago, one of the lakes still was colored red. Depending on which mineral salts predominate, they change color. At the moment, turquoise is hip. As we drive on, we are lucky. In a village, a new house is due to be built. This is the cause for a great party. All relatives from the surrounding villages are invited and arrive festively dressed to celebrate this event and to make a contribution. Even a pig is carried on bamboo poles. It will not live to see the evening of that day. In Flores, the ancestors are still close to the living. Sometimes you step over grandpa's or grandma's grave into the house. Always, the megalithic tombs are built very close to the cottages. Often, children play on top of the graves. They are used to dry fruits or simply for the laundry. Though they are dead for a long time, the ancestors still take part in village life.
Orang pintar bisa mengajar matematika.
Ibu Anita mau tinggal di sini?
Ya, oke ya. Senang sekali kalau tinggal di sini ngajar.
Weaving is women's work in Flores. The manufacturing of sarongs takes many weeks. Also, the technique is complicated and takes a long time. In the ikat weaving, the women wrap dye-resistant fiber around the sections that are not due to receive color. So these areas are not colored in the dyeing of the cotton threads. In the end, sarongs and blankets are produced which the Flores people carry with great pride and which are passed down from generation to generation. After 6 days and after 600 kilometers on the Trans-Flores highway, we have arrived. Near the harbor city of Maumere, we obtain a cozy bungalow in Ankami Resort. The idyll is deceptive. In 1992, the Bay of Maumere was hit by a violent earthquake. The tsunami, which was triggered by the quake, killed 3,000 people in Maumere and on the offshore islands. Above water, there are no traces left of the disaster. But what about underwater? A fisherman takes us out to the outlying islands in his nosy boat. Here too, nothing more is to be seen of the devastation of the tsunami. We glide past corals and sea fans. Even under overhangs, small corals have developed, and near the bottom of the reef, we startle some reef sharks. Right in front of our bungalow, the dive sites are different. In the black, volcanic sand, there's almost no coral. But there are other whimsical animals which can only be discovered here. Scorpion fish and their relatives are lurking in a wreck that lies here since the Second World War. Squids are almost tame and come pretty close to us divers. Searching on in the sand, we discover this underwater bird. It is a guana with fins that look like wings. Here, a mantis shrimp comes out of his burrow. The mantis mother even carries her eggs around with her. Also, nudibranchs are common here. We find many of these colorful animals. Even at night they are active. Then the really big nudies come out, like this Spanish dancer, which can be more than 30 centimeters long. also frogfish, are in the night more active than usual. Many crabs are on their way, and in the end we observe a small bobtail squid that digs into the sand, hiding away from the underwater torch. For the market day in Ende, a town in the south of Flores, the inhabitants of the neighboring islands and villages come into town. Still, there seems to be plenty of fish. Even large tuna are available for purchase. If you ask the fishermen, however, they all confirm that there was once much more fish in the ocean than today.
Foto mo mo ko ako smooth.
Was fine, nice.
200 kilometers to the east, on the island of Lembata, larger marine animals are hunted still. This is blubber, and it comes from sperm whales, which migrate in the summer from the south and pass close to the island. The inhabitants of the village of Lamalera still hunt these large marine mammals with small boats and simple harpoons. A dangerous job. Every year, fishermen die in the battle with the giants of the seas. During a visit, they show us how they still hunt the whales. Further east in the Alor archipelago, the people catch their daily fish with handmade harpoons. Even the diving goggles they make themselves. Coconut shells, window glass, and rubber band is all they need. Fish traps made from rattan and bamboo are lying in the reefs of Alor too. The Alor people dive sometimes down to 20 meters to anchor the fish traps safely. Here in Alor, people take from the sea only what they need. This is obvious for us divers at once. The reefs are healthy and full of life. We stay in the family-run Alor Divers Resort on the island of Panta, in a hut by the beach. On the opposite side is Alor, and in between the narrow Panta Strait with the dive sites. Lontar palms grow everywhere on these arid islands in eastern Indonesia. They are intensively used. The flower juice, for example, is collected and, slightly fermented, is a popular and refreshing drink. The collector of the flower juice has to climb several times a day on the palm trees to replace the baskets. Here at the palm sugar manufacturer, the juice is slowly concentrated over the fire. Finally, it is poured into various forms of palm leaves and sold on the market around as gula merah, red sugar. The natives love this sweet treat. Until the last century, the people of Alor were feared headhunters. The Dutch never succeeded in effectively controlling the Alor archipelago. The inhabitants of Takpala, a village in the mountains of Alor, still preserve the old traditions. Of course, today's visitors of the village do not need to be afraid of losing their heads. Nevertheless, the first impression we gain as visitors of the village is rather threatening. This is the normal greeting, however. It is always better to show the strangers when they arrive who's the boss here. Then you can still show your friendly side and even invite the guests to dance with the villagers. With the high-powered diving boats of the Alor Divers Resort, we are fast at the dive sites. The locals have it less comfortable. They have to travel with the unreliable and usually crowded local ferries. Today, we are going to a particular dive site. In the south of Alor, cold upwellings from the deep flow to the surface. Warm water-loving corals have a hard time to develop in this environment. Their place has been taken over by anemones. They form a giant anemone field underwater. It is several kilometers long. We cannot stand the temperatures for a long time in Anemone City, the name of the dive site. The water is just too cold for us divers in our thin tropical wetsuits. In Alor, two oceans meet. From the Pacific in the north flows a powerful ocean flow through Panta Strait, while the Indian Ocean from the south is fighting against it with colder water rising from the depth. There is always a strong current here, either from the north to south or the other way around, depending on which of the two oceans is more powerful at the moment. Away from the mainstream, there are many quiet bays and sheltered areas where the main water flow is passing by. These are the sites where many rare underwater animals live. They are the dream of many underwater photographers and videographers, who only come to Alor for the photograph of one of those holy grails of underwater photography. Let's go and search. Here floats a harlequin ghost pipefish. He can often be found in the vicinity of feather stars. The robust ghost pipefish is almost indistinguishable from seagrass leaves, and the Halimeda ghost pipefish looks like the Halimeda algae. It only can be found in places where many Halimeda algae are growing. In underwater caves and among coral rubble, frogfish are at home. The giant frogfish mostly sit on sponges and wait patiently until a fish comes along. With one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom, they snap and devour their prey. Here are two smaller specimens from the frogfish family. Frogfish possess a delicate fishing rod, which they use to lure small fish in front of their mouth. In the course of evolution, these fish have lost much of their ability to swim, but somehow they still manage to move from one place to another. It looks funny, but not at all graceful. This fish too has lost its buoyancy. Here, a Rhinopias crawls with its pectoral fins up a slope to get into a better hunting position. In Alor, several subspecies of this extremely rare animal can be discovered. Similar like frogfish, they are laying in wait and snap their prey like lightning. The picture is deceiving. In reality, Rhinopias are almost unrecognizable when they lurk motionless for prey. Only the underwater torch brings their bright colors to light.